Hi Sagittarius, welcome to your January 2022 reading. I'm Gemstone Tarot. This is for you, Sagittarius. Ooh. Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, cross watchers. Everybody is welcome. Ooh, your cards are kind of flying out. Okay, what do we need? Oof, cripes. What do we need to know for Sagittarius? Definitely moving away from something here. That's nice. Boundaries are coming up a little bit as well. You've had the Chariot in your reading every month for about the last, I don't know, at least a few months. So we have the, ooh, we have the, ooh, cripes. Okay, we're getting into it. I've got my drink. Go and get yourself a cup of tea, cup of coffee, herbal tea, whatever, water, wine. Do it. Okay, what do we need to know for my lovely Sagittarians? Okay, sorry, I'm just gathering because there's such a lot of information on here. I'll show you the cards in a minute as well with the second camera. Saggy, your readings throughout the whole of 2021 and a bit from the second half of 2020 were about you kind of getting stronger and emerging from the time when you had eclipses in your sign. This feels like a very powerful shift in January, but with the caveat that Mercury's going retrograde in mid-January. And this is going to cause weirdnesses, twists, turns, and, you know, anything that would normally have been like, oh, there's an epiphany, now I move to this, kind of becomes, oh, there's an epiphany, things go weird, I take a diversion. It feels like you're going to take a diversion. Your two overall energy cards are the Nine of Pentacles, Venus in Virgo. This is about feathering your own nest, making your own life good, not just good, but really good, kind of lavishing security on yourself, but also being strong. And for some of you, you need to be strong in the face of difficulty and I don't know what this is. Okay, I'm going to let you look at the cards with me. You've got to be in on this, Sag. You've got to be in on this. Okay, let's tune in. You usually have to shift them around a little bit. That's not too bad, actually. Right. If you look here, we've got your two overall energy cards. The Nine of Pentacles and the Two of Swords. And that tells us that something is slightly kind of suspended. It needs resolution. So some of you may be in a situation where you don't quite know which way to go next. It could be to do with a relationship. It could be to do with your life in general. I have a feeling it's maybe all of the above. Okay. And if you look here, if you just look at the kind of action of the cards, for the thing that I get for this, Six of Swords, is somebody quite speedily rowing you away from a situation. Normally with the Six of Swords, it's like, you know, you leave the rough water and you enter the calm water and that's really zen. It doesn't feel like that. It feels like, let's go. It feels like, let's go. Now with the Six of Swords, there's always somebody to take you there. You're not rowing on your own, okay? And Saggy, maybe that is a feature as well of 2020, 2021. There's a difference between being powerful in your own right and being alone and feeling it and feeling like you're rowing your own boat constantly. And yeah, it's very powerful to be rowing your own boat. It's good. It's like, yes, I'm very strong. Yes, I can row my own boat. I can navigate the waters. But it feels like that's a false sense of independence. What's coming now is the ability to be vulnerable and also get in the boat. Okay, this is a weird reading. Let's just chalk that up straight away. It's a bit weird. If it resonates with you, by the way, when you get to the end, there will be an extended reading and the link is in the description box. So see how you feel towards the end of the video and whether this is for you. Okay. I'm very interested. Well, God, where to begin? There's just so many characters here and so much going on. Hierophant. Hierophant is kind of gurus and government for me. So I'm feeling, and Sagittarius is a very freedom-loving sign, and often you can come up against some kind of conventional backlash. I feel there's a bit of conventional backlash here. So for some of you, if it's about a relationship, this could be about the conventional idea of commitment. Now, Sagittarians are quite, in my experience, you're not nagging people for commitment night and day. Not really your thing. It's a sign of freedom. It could be the other way round. It could be that you're having to choose whether to make a commitment to something that you don't know if you want to commit to. Okay? Excuse my throat, I've got allergies. Okay. It also feels in your life in general that you may not want to follow the conventional path. A lot of Sagittarians don't. And this is getting away from something that is quite traditional. Excuse me. So for example, in whatever line of work you're in, and this could be anything, if you're in spiritual work, if you're working for the government, you know, whatever it is, you're not going to want to follow the party line. If it's about relationship, you're not going to want to follow the linear kind of expectations of where a relationship could go. But you also might want to at the same time. I know. I said it wasn't straightforward. Here we've got the Four of Cups, emotional neutral. Okay. I feel like, especially with the Two of Swords here, that whatever the situation is with you, it's going to change so many times in January that you have a sixth sense that it doesn't make sense to make a big decision early on. And I would say for any sign, no sudden decisions until Mercury's gone retrograde, and then really come out the other side about the 14th of February. So just accept January quite suitably for you is a mishmash of energies. You've got people coming in, you've got stuff happening, you've got stuff to clear up, you've got old stuff coming back to be dealt with, you've got new stuff falling in. Sometimes it's going to be a bit breathtaking and it's going to happen at quite an alarming rate, but you're a mutable fire sign, and if anybody's equipped to deal with that, it's you, okay? Now, in the corner here, this card flipped out and really wanted a piece of the pie. Nine of Wands, the card of boundaries, protection. Here is somebody who is building their own fortress of protection. Now, normally when you get the Nine of Wands, and I'm just going to turn my screen up a minute because it's coming out a bit. That's better. When you have the Nine of Wands, often, you know, it's like, don't be too defended, don't be too defensive. I don't think so. I think it's important that you are. I think it's important that you have your boundaries in place, even if you, and most Sagittarians have quite good boundaries, mostly because most Sagittarians aren't caught up in fear all the time, in my experience. But I think it's very important that other people know where you stand, especially if you're, let's say this is to do with a government thing or a work thing or a kind of red tape thing of some kind. If you're not going to follow the, what do they call it? The conventional norm in something, make sure that you're very clear about what you are going to do. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to legislate for that. I'm going to do it this way, and here's how I'm going to win. That's it. Not apologising, not explaining, it's just laying out your manifesto. For others of you, this is to do with some kind of emotional situation. If you look in this middle strip here, we've got the Queen of Wands, the Five of Cups, the Chariot, and the Knight of Swords. Some of you might be dealing with an air sign, okay? If you're dealing with an air sign, there is a need to stand up and be counted about where you're at in the relationship. And that's going to come in quite quickly. So this could be an ex of yours. It could be someone you're connected to at the moment. I've got Gemini, Libra, Aquarius in this. So somebody also that you could have met online or you could be talking to online. Because for me, the Knight of Swords and the Page of Swords kind of rules online as well. I feel like if that's your situation, you're going to run quite quickly into this Chariot. Okay, now the Chariot is Cancerian energy, and for me, Cancerians are going to be very significant for you in 2022. I've been feeling this for a while, but I'm really feeling it now, so I'm going to say it. Okay, I'm putting it out there. Anyway, Cancer, two sphinxes going in different directions. This is about making a choice to peel off in one direction or another. After you have been prompted by this Knight of Swords, probably an air sign or somebody operating online that you are communicating with online. One way or another, you have to leave something behind in this scenario, and that's your Five of Cups. Now 3 cups are down and 2 cups remain in the background. You need to grieve the loss of what you lose, okay, in this scenario. It's not really lost. It's just going to kind of feel like it is at the time, if that makes sense. This, I think, blows up in Mercury retrograde, because at least for part of it, Mercury is retrograde in Aquarius, and it feels like, of course, it could be an Aquarius person, but it also just feels like very quickly something comes up, something blows up, a conversation, an invitation, whatever it is, and you're just required to jump one way or the other and then have your boundaries in place. For some of you, this is to do with business or work. There will be a development, probably around the middle of the month. Could be any time though, between about the middle and the end of the month. There'll be a development. This has happened. This is what the Knight of Swords does. It's like he comes in, he dashes in. This has happened. Okay, blah, blah, blah. Here is the news. And of course, this can be on Twitter. You know, Twitter is a very Knight of Swords type thing. For some of you, it is about Twitter. God knows why. I don't really do Twitter and I don't really understand it, but I'm getting it. So I'm just going to put it out there. A message is out there quickly. You have to respond quickly. For others of you, it's someone you're speaking to online dating. A message is out there quickly. You know, let's do this, do you want to do that? Or I can't do this, or I want to do that, or whatever it is. It comes up, it flares up. If it's business, it's a situation, it flares up. You go into the Chariot mode. You are the charioteer. You're driving it, you're in charge, and it's not easy to keep 2 opposing views on the road. If you're managing others, and this could be to do with your family, it could be to do with your work group or even your close circle of friends, you're going to need to manage other people. Like, get in the Chariot. Put your shoes on, get in the Chariot, don't ask any questions, let's go, you know? So you may be required to like summon the troops, as it were. And then we have the Queen of Wands. This is nice for Sagittarians because it's the Diva Queen. And My Cat Valentine features as well, which is always nice. She is the queen who doesn't really answer to anyone. It's like, I've got my big sunflower, I've got my big stick. What about it? And that is how you're going to end up. It's probably not how you begin in January. You may begin in a more timid fashion than that, but it's certainly the way that it's headed. Okay? And then we have this bottom strip here. This is interesting. Okay, when you get the Moon card, you've got Pisces and Cancer in mind because it represents those signs, but also it's what is hidden, what is mysterious, okay? And it feels like what is hidden in this Moon card is what gets broadcast in this Knight of Swords. So this has been going on for a while, whatever it is, okay? And it feels like a leak. So it feels like it comes out accidentally somehow. And when Mercury is retrograde, that happens. Emails get sent to the wrong person, you know, anything like that can happen. So make sure that isn't you, by the way, doing it. It feels like whatever has been the injustice here gets broadcast and comes to light. Along the bottom here, 7 of Swords. The sneaky beaky card. This is crimes and misdemeanors. Somebody is at the fairground and he decides to steal these swords and he's like, I've got 5. I wonder if I can go back for the other 2. Has anybody seen me? It's a planned attack, isn't it? It's a planned theft. And then what do we have in between except justice? And here we have Libran energy, but we also have the sword of truth and the scales of justice, major arcana, with the sword of truth, the ace of swords. You are going to put what someone tells you to the sword of truth in January. I'm not sure you can do anything else with it. And the situation, having been quite dormant, I think, for some time, does blow up quite quickly. And because of that, I feel like, let me go back to this camera, I feel like you don't have time to mess around, actually. But that's good. When we don't have time to mess around, we tend not to mess around. Okay. In the extended reading, God, I'm going to look at what you need to know and what you don't know. I'm going to look at the secrets of the 7 of Swords. What's behind the scenes? What's behind the moon? What are they thinking? What are they doing? What's going on about your person? About the situation? That's interesting. So, Romance Angel Oracle cards. This card was stuck in there. There isn't a Romance Angel Oracle card, but I'm going to do it because there's a reason why it's stuck in there. Support. Call upon your cosmic and real friends, okay? Cosmic friends, angels, source, the sea, your bestie, whatever, doesn't matter. Call upon the support because you're going to need it, okay? Especially when that Knight of Swords thing hits. Then we get codependency. Romance Angel Oracle cards, codependency. Addictions are affecting your romantic life. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean you're codependent with somebody, although for some of you it might do. They may be a bit codependent with you, although the very word codependent kind of means there's 2 people doing it. There's something here about breaking a pattern with somebody. And the pattern may come out more in the other person, but you're still a part of it, okay? But also it might just be breaking a pattern you know in yourself about some kind of addiction. An addiction covers everything, you know? It feels like you no longer want to blindly go down a particular path that you were going down, okay? I don't find that a very threatening card. It's just like a sort of tweak rather than a big thing. Then we get express your love, making the romantic gesture. Don't be afraid of that, but at the same time, have your boundaries in place. And that's what boundaries do for us. When your boundaries are good and in place and you're not kind of working on them all the time, you can be as loving as you like because you know, bottom line, that you are protected. So work on the boundaries first, but in the meantime, yeah, express your loving nature and trust. This situation is calling for you to have faith, Sagittarius. Faith for most of the month. Evidence will come later anyway with this Knight of Swords busting his guts to tell you the news. Angel Oracle card. That one. Oh, one else wanted to come out. Okay. You get healing. along with power, like healing power. But also when you get this power card, it's like a very soft, integrated kind of power. That's what I mean by this. It's not being fiercely independent, it's being softly integrated with all your boundaries in place. We get listening with children. Speak and listen like a child is one message that I'm getting, with all the innocence that brings. Sagittarians can tap into that quite well, I think. There's a very playful side which I really like. Be playful in your endeavours and your dealings, because we also get ideas and inspiration, okay? And that's where they're going to come from. And for some of you as well, there may be something you need to listen to with your own children, okay? Your own child. Listen for something perhaps they're not quite telling you, okay? That's just for one or two of you. Whew, Saggy, I'm going to go do your extended reading. We're going to have a dig at the secrets and the Seven of Swords and see what the universe has to say. The link is in the description box below. Do like, share and subscribe, and thank you for being here. I'll see you soon. Namaste.